Go and try your luck. Touch me in again, we let it rain. Please don't start us up. Got that black and white, that yang yang yang. Mr. Officer, please don't search us, we don't got a thing. Tell her park it up. Man, that ass be poking out. Them jeans up is sparking up. Like the fireworks, I keep the flame. Heard you barking up. This the wrong tree, I got the strings. Yeah, I'm charging up. They can't keep up, got a million chain. Now they walking up. Trying to put the face to the name.
Today, probably one of my most requested videos of all time. I swear I get like 500 messages a day asking me about what my diet is, what my diet consists of, how it's changed over the years and things like that. So today, since I did just make a shift recently with my diet, I thought it'd be a good time to kind of give you guys an update on what I would call sort of my lean bulk and how my diet has changed from what it was before, when I was probably more in a deficit and more of on like a shred, still building muscle. But today I wanted to explain that. We're back in Toronto. The reason why we're not shooting in-gym content right now is because I actually did retweak my shoulder. So I'm out of training upper body on my left side for a little while. So I figured it'd be a good time to just do more of a talking style video. And then as soon as this gets better, we'll get back to obviously shooting more in-gym content. Okay, so what I'm gonna be talking about in this video is a few different things, going over my calories, my macros, what I focus on when I'm going on a lean bulk versus shredding versus, I guess, bulking, which I'm actually not a proponent of dirty bulking per se. I think that if you just consistently build muscle over time, that's what I've done since the beginning. So I did notice when I dropped my calories down extremely low, like 100, 200 calorie caloric deficit, that's when I noticed I started getting injured. I started getting joint pain, tendonitis. Those sort of issues start to come back when your calories are way too low or your body fat's way too low. So finding a good place where you don't feel like you're getting injured is extremely important. Obviously, your performance is going to go up as you increase your calories, but I don't think that if you just shoot your calories through the roof, like 4,000 calories, 3,500 calories, because you're a hard gainer or you're going on a dirty bulk where you're eating Sour Patch Kids before you train and all that shit, I don't think that's necessary. You need to find a range where you're not so low that you're sacrificing your joints and everything like that. That's why bodybuilders, when they get to an extremely low body fat percentage, 5-6%, they have to train a little bit different because they can't put their joints and their muscles and all that different stuff, ligaments, tendons, all that at risk by using heavy loads. So find a good in between, and then you can just kind of see where your performance stays high, but your calories aren't so high that, again, you're gaining unnecessary body fat. Since the beginning, I've never probably gone above maybe even 10% body fat, but I don't think you need to really go above the 12 to 15% for males, obviously, range if you're looking to be an optimal range to build muscle. Obviously, based on your genetics, some people are gonna feel better when they're leaner. For example, myself, I think when I'm between the 6 and 8%, that's where I like to be and feel like that's the optimal range for me to build muscle while maintaining a certain level of body fat. With my diet, I feel like that's a sustainable range, so I'm not starving myself and going to bed hungry every night. I'm able to just eat what I like, stay obviously on track with my diet, but not go overboard on either side, going super high calories and bulking for no reason, and then going back down super low calories and shredding for a while. So one of the main things that I focus on when I'm doing a lean bulk is hitting the number of calories that I want to hit. This goes for when I'm shredding or when I'm actually trying to build more muscle or when I'm just trying to stay in a maintenance range. It does matter how many calories you hit. So each day I have a set number of calories. I've shifted it more from like the 2,200 calories range more to the 2,400 calories, and even sometimes more than that depending on how I'm feeling. If I'm in a lean bulking phase, which I am right now, I do tend to be a little bit more lenient with myself, and my body feels more hungry because my training load is very high and I'm very active on a certain day. I don't necessarily stop myself and say, okay, I only want to hold myself to this many calories or that many calories. I eat very intuitively per se and just focus a lot on just being satiated with my meals. This is what I personally did because I know a lot of people have trouble finding their maintenance calories. When I first started, what I did was just took my lean body weight, or my body weight rather, and just multiplied that by 15, which is around the 2,100, just over 2,100 mark for me. And then I took that, and then based on how I was feeling, how my body was responding, I was honest with myself and my shape and my physique, looking in the mirror, seeing how my training is changing. I adjusted from there. So since my lifestyle is relatively active, I am walking a lot, I'm working a lot, I train 1 to 2 times a day a lot of the week. I did increase my calories from that 2100, 2200 range to 23, 24, even up to 25 in a maintenance range, because that's what my body did actually require. So don't use that calculation as an absolute. You have to stick to that, because everybody's body is going to respond differently to a different number of calories based on your metabolism, your activity levels, all these different things. So you really do have to experiment with yourself. The second thing that I really do focus on when I'm going on a lean bulk and am trying to be in the most optimal range for building muscle is making sure that I'm hitting a certain amount of protein per day. So my goal is usually 1 gram per pound of body weight, but often it is a lot higher just because of the way that I am eating. I do eat just a lot of red meats, and I'm very low carbohydrate in general, so I'm not filling my diet with a lot of vegetables and carbs. So most of the calories are coming more so from protein and red meats. You don't actually need more than 1 gram per pound of body weight to be in an optimal range to build muscle, but a lot of people do enjoy having more protein because it is very satiating. And even if you do go over on your protein, your calories are mostly coming from protein. Protein has a thermogenic effect, so you're actually going to burn more just by digesting it rather than reaching for some carbohydrates or some sugars or something like that, which one are going to be less satiating, more addictive, but also compared to protein, you're not going to burn as much while you're eating them. So if I'm increasing my calories on a lean bulk, most of the times I'm increasing my fattier meat, so I'm going to a fattier cut of meat, or I'm increasing my overall calories coming from meat. So when I'm cutting, I'm doing more like 6 ounces per meal of meat, and then if I'm wanting just to go on a lean bulk, I'll go up to 8 ounces, and that's where I like to really make the adjustments from. So one thing that's definitely been super important in sticking to my diet and making sure that I'm satiated and I feel good and making sure that my hormones are regulated is making sure that my macronutrient breakdown is as accurate as possible per day to the amount that I'm trying to hit. So for example, since I've been doing the ketogenic diet for about 3-4 years now, since I did start training, that's what I found has worked for me the most. It may not work for everyone, but does definitely work for me. I try to stick between 65 and 70% fat in my lean bulking phase, and then from there, my protein's gonna waver between the 25-30% mark because my carbs are so low, or pretty much little to none right now. My vegetables are very low right now, and my carbohydrates are very low in general, just because I do find that vegetables sometimes do upset my stomach. On top of that, when I have a ton of carbohydrates, since I have been eating low carb for such a long time, I do get really bloated, watery, and I feel more lethargic. Depending on the person, that's gonna change. You may feel better with carbohydrates. Tyler, my older brother, does definitely work better on carbs compared to myself and Braden, who work better on a higher fat diet. If my macros are off, so if I'm way too low fat, my ghrelins through the roof, so I'm super hungry all the time. I can't hit my calories. I'm like, holy crap, why am I so hungry? I've had 250 grams of protein, and I've had 2,600 calories, 2,700 calories, but I'm still not full. So if I hit that 65 is probably the lowest I go to 70% fat, I find that all my hormones are regulated properly, so I'm not getting super hungry throughout the day, and then I can just eat 3 solid meals and just make sure that those macros are on point so that I don't get hungry later on at night or later on through the day. Now, as I said, I'm not eating a ton of vegetables right now. I think it's been overly emphasized how important vegetables are over the past, I don't know how long in the fitness industry. Definitely a tool that you can use. A lot of people use it to make themselves feel more satiated because they're so high fiber and they're so low calorie in general. It's mostly like water or anything like that, but I've pretty much completely cut vegetables out of my diet for the past month and a half or so. I still do have some small things, but when I do, I try to stick to less starchy vegetables, so I'll go with more like kale, spinach, those things, because I find I don't have any issues digesting those. Plus, in general, I do enjoy having more spinach just fried up with whatever meals I'm having added to the plate, and sometimes it may make it a little bit more satiating. So although I don't believe that vegetables are 100% necessary, like a ton of vegetables are super necessary in your diet, if it does help you with staying on track for however long it may be with your calories and everything like that, then it's definitely a tool that you can use. The same way that I use kind of protein and lever that to help me feel more satiated throughout the day. So next I wanted to talk about some food meals and examples that I kind of go through on a daily basis. I do keep my diet pretty much strict the same. I'm not really fussy about what I eat. I find enjoyment in just having a lot of red meats and a lot of just protein in general. I feel like I can get full off of eggs, full off of steak, full off of salmon, sardines, all this stuff. So I'm not super fussy about getting all this different stuff or doing any of these clean cheats really. Previously I'd done some of that stuff, but I actually just felt better when I pretty much stuck to a strict diet. So although this does work for me, it may not work for everybody else, because I know a lot of people are gonna say it's super restrictive, but some of the foods I eat are pretty much just red meats and salmon and eggs and things like that, and I just stick to that throughout my day because that's what I found has worked for myself. So when it comes to red meats, I do tend to stick to a fattier cut, especially when I'm doing a lean bulk, because then I can get more of my calories in from those meats and from the fattier meats rather than going to other things. I'll have ribeye steaks, I'll have fattier ground beefs, but with all of these meats, I do try to get grass-fed, grass-finished meats because of the higher omega-3 profile in general. So even though technically grass-fed meats are leaner, so grass-fed ribeyes and things like that are leaner than just grain-fed ribeyes, technically they have a better omega-3 profile, so it is still higher fat, it's higher good fat that you actually want to have in your system. So two main omega-3 fats that are actually in grass-fed meats, more so I think it's about 20% of the amount that's in grass-fed meats or in grain-fed meats of CLA and ALA, which are two omega-3 fatty acids that can help with lowering stress, anxiety, depression. It's been shown to that, and then also lowering risk of like heart disease, strokes, type 2 diabetes. So all this different stuff that is definitely beneficial in the long run and definitely beneficial in the short run if you're looking to lower cortisol levels and stay lean while increasing your calories still. So if I can get those grass-fed meats or those pasture-raised eggs, those omegas are definitely going to help you. But if you can't, it's not going to be the absolute breaking point, because I understand that obviously grass-fed meats are going to be more expensive and less accessible to people. As I said, my vegetables are super low, and there are nutrients in vegetables that are super important, especially if you're trying to build muscle and just live an overall balanced, healthy lifestyle. So I can't just cut out one thing and not replace it with anything. Same thing as like if I'm cutting out carbs, I have to increase my fats so that I'm living more of a balanced lifestyle and have a balanced diet so my body's still receiving those nutrients. So since I am cutting out vegetables, I try to get some sort of organ meat or liver because they do have a lot of the nutrients that vegetables would have. So if I can get a liver, again, it's hard to find them. We have some decent like resources around here that we can get grass-fed liver and things like that. So we try to get those just to make sure that I am getting the nutrients that I'm losing out from the vegetables. As I said, I do get some salmon for the omega-3 profiles, the omega-3 fatty acids just on top of the grass-fed meats, but I also do try to get sardines because they have a lot of choline as well as calcium. And choline has been shown to improve like brain function, mental cognition, all this different stuff. So you're gonna feel a lot better. And that's something that's super important when it comes down to dieting. Any bodybuilder who's been in that really super shredded, super lean zone knows that if you are dropping your calories down, you want to make sure that your mental function, your brain health, all this different stuff is on point so that you're not raising cortisol levels a shitload. Cortisol levels are going to make you feel more hungry. They're going to make you hold on to water. So if you're trying to maintain a certain level of body fat while still building muscle, then it's definitely important to get those cortisol levels down and actually use some different things to help increase metabolism, just like choline, as I said. So kind of to wrap things up, I didn't want to make this video super long or extend it out to be like a full day of eating or anything like that. I really wanted to keep it concise and short and just give you guys all the information that I have about what I'm doing with my diet right now. This definitely is not a diet that's gonna work for everyone, but I've just wanted to share kind of what works for me and what I've learned over the years since I started my training. This is something that I've kind of experimented with my body on, so I've figured out what does work for me. It's also stuff that I've learned from other YouTubers, you know, like John Meadows and really knowledgeable people, coaches and trainers that we've worked with, all this different stuff. So we just do our own research as well as learn from these people. So if you can get any of that information and learn any of that information, then apply that to yourself, then obviously that's a really good thing. That's what I found with my dieting throughout the entire time, is really just experimenting and assessing your physique. Those guys helped me out. My brothers, my two older brothers, helped me out with genuinely assessing my physique and assessing each other's physique to see, look, you know, your strength is going up, your performance is going up, your body fat is maintaining, that's perfect. Or your body fat's increasing, your strength is going down, we need to change something in your diet. So using these small cues, I don't always think the scale is the best way to do it, but if you're consistently tracking your macros and everything, then you can definitely get a better idea by tracking your weight as well at the same time, just to see that general progression over time. Kind of my last point was just wanted to touch on protein again, because I did say that I do increase my protein a fair amount when I'm doing sort of like a lean bulk and use that as a lever. As I said with my macros, I do want to make sure that I'm getting enough fat, because I find if I drop my fat down to like 60-55% and just have super extremely high protein, I find that it can definitely mess with my sleep a ton. It gives me insomnia issues, makes me wake up in the middle of the night, and then obviously in turn, if you're getting shitty sleep, you get super hungry throughout the day. People underestimate the importance of sleep. So if I'm trying to get 7-8 hours of sleep, a quality sleep, not just staying up till 3 in the morning and then sleeping until 11 a.m., do try to get quality sleep. But if my protein is way too high and my fat's too low, it messes with my sleep a ton and gives me insomnia, makes me wake up in the middle of the night. You get spikes of cortisol, like heavy spikes, if your hormones are imbalanced and if you have too low fat. So if you are on the lower carb side, I do suggest that you definitely just make sure that your macros are on point with your fats and make sure you're getting enough omega-3 fatty acids, not just eating super fatty meats. Like sometimes people have extreme amounts of, you know, butter and bacon and all these different things, which is fine every once in a while, but I tend to just get most of my fats from real fatty meats, genuine cuts of meats, rather than adding all this processed fake BS into your diet. It doesn't affect your body the same way. So that pretty much wraps up the video. I really just wanted to share what my diet is right now. You guys ask all the time. I wasn't gonna bullshit you and give you all these different things that I'd say that I do but I don't do. I wanted to give you guys genuinely what I do on a day-to-day basis. I know a lot of people are going to say it's restrictive, but it's just what I've done and what works for me. So if you guys did enjoy the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We got more in-gym content coming soon. Just want to get this shoulder injury fixed just so that I can really get back and just start progressing at an insane pace again and again and again. So as I said, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. We're at like 788,000 or some crazy number like that. It's insane, the growth. You guys have been loving the video, so hopefully this video helped you guys out, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.